internal resistance of a cell. Okay. Now, what is the value? How we will be deriving an equation to find out the value of this internal resistance of a cell from the known parameters? Okay. That is what we have discussed it yesterday itself, but I hope you won't be that much clear about that idea. So I will repeat that again. So if you are considering a cell, the cell will be having a small amount of resistance due to the components inside that cell. Okay, suppose that a cell of EMF E and an internal resistance R is connected to an external resistance, that is R, capital R. This is our load resistance. Okay, whatever value you are connecting to a source is called the load resistance. Okay, that load resistance is connected to an EMF of E and internal resistance R, and by connecting this, suppose that a I current is flowing through the circuit. Okay, what will be the total resistance of the circuit, entire circuit? That will be this resistance and this one. Since they are connected in series, we can say that the total resistance we say R effective will be equal to capital R plus small r. This will be the value of total value of resistance in this circuit. Okay, if E is the EMF, okay, if E is the EMF, then current I will be equal to EMF or potential voltage by resistance. What is the total resistance? R plus R. Okay, I will be equal to voltage by resistance. What is the total effective resistance? That is R plus R, since they are in series. So voltage is E by R plus R. Okay, that will be equal to the total current flowing in the circuit. Okay, if I current is flowing through this resistance R, what will be the potential drop at this point, or potential difference between the ends of this resistance? Say this is point A and this is point B. What will be the potential difference between A and B? That will be equal to by Ohm's law. V of R will be equal to by Ohm's law IR. Right now, what is the value of R? That is E by R plus R into R. That is ER by R plus R. That will be the value of potential drop between these 2 points, A and B. Okay, that is the potential drop at the resistance capital R. That is the load resistance. Okay, now we will see what is the potential drop across the internal resistance. That is this point. At here, how many amount of potential is being dropped from this E value? Okay, for finding out that one, you just simply do the same thing. That is potential drop at the small resistance R will be equal to I into small r. That is equal to ER by R plus R. ER by R plus R. Or in other way also you can do this one. That is, if E is the total potential difference, that is our EMF, and VR is dropping here, what will be the remaining potential drop? That will be equal to E minus this VR, no? So if you subtract VR, that is ER by R plus R from E itself, you will be getting the same value. That is ER by R plus R. That is E minus V of R is equal to E minus ER by R plus R also will be giving ER by R plus R. Okay, that is V of small r. That is potential drop across the internal resistance will be equal to total EMF minus the potential drop at the load. That is VR. V of capital R. E minus V of capital R. V of capital R has a value of E into capital R by R plus R. That is our effective resistance. If you cross multiply this one, we will be getting ER by E small r by capital R plus small r. Okay, the same equation, ER by R plus R. Okay, this is the equation for the potential drop at the internal resistance. Okay, so what will be the value of R? Value of R will be is equal to VR by I, no? By Ohm's law, potential by current will be is equal to resistance. Okay, this is the potential drop at the internal resistance and I is the current passing through it. So that potential difference by I will be giving you this R. So that will be equal to, this VR will be equal to total EMF minus potential drop at the load. Okay, that will be equal to this one, V small r divided by V of R by R. Okay, why I write these equations? Because we have to get all these terms in the non-parameters. Okay, that is EMF of a cell we can measure, that is V of R. That is the potential difference across a resistance we can measure using a voltmeter, and you can find out what is the resistance you are applying also. So you can find out resistance or internal resistance of a cell in terms of non-parameters. Okay, that is E minus VR by VR into R, which will be equal to E minus V of capital R by V of capital R into R. Okay, don't forget this equation. You will be needing this equation for your practical. That is potentiometer experiment. Okay, finding out the internal resistance of a cell using the potentiometer apparatus. Okay, so EMF of the cell minus potential drop at the resistance divided by potential drop at the resistance, load resistance into that load will give you the total internal resistance of a cell. Okay, now we will see the series combination of resistors. Okay, like the case of not resistors, EMF. Okay, like in the case of resistors, here in the case of cells also we will be having series as well as parallel combinations. Okay, suppose that two cells are connected in series. Okay, this is the series connection. Okay, this is having E1 and R1. EMF E1 and internal resistance R1. Here E2 and internal resistance R2. We are considering 3 points A, B, and C. B and A. Okay, and suppose that a current I is passing through this one. Due to the two, there is a current I passing through the wire, that is AC section. Okay, what is the potential difference between A and B? It will be equal to VAB, that is VA minus VB, higher potential minus lower potential, VA minus VB. Okay, that will be equal to minus IR1. Right now, E1 minus IR1. E1 is the total EMF of this cell. We are considering in between A and B. Okay, in between A, B, E is the EMF produced, and since there is an internal resistance, some of this value, E value, will be dropped here itself. At the cell itself, this EMF values, a portion called IR1 will be dropped here itself. So that will be the potential difference between A and B. Similarly, between B and C, VBC will be equal to VB minus VC, that is equal to E2 minus IR2. Okay, that will be equal to E2 minus IR2. Okay, now what is the potential difference between the end A and C? Okay, this entire length of conductor, that is A and C. What will be the potential difference? V AC. That will be equal to VAB plus VBC by superposition principle. VAC is equal to VAB plus VBC. That will be equal to VA minus VB plus VB minus VC. Okay, VB minus VC. So this VB term get cancels. So we will get VA minus VC. Okay, but what is this VA minus VB and VB minus VC? That we have already found out. Okay, that will be equal to E1 minus IR1 plus E2 minus IR2. Okay, E1 minus IR1 plus E2 minus IR2. That will be equal to E1 plus E2 minus I into R1 plus R2. Okay, E1 plus E2 minus I into R1 plus R2. Okay, that will be the total potential difference between the points A and B. Okay, so here we can see if we are finding out the potential difference between these 2 points. Okay, the total potential difference is coming to be the sum of EMF of the 2 cells minus the potential drop at each cell. Okay, because this R1 and R2, since they are connected in series, the resistance are adding up. Okay, and the EMFs are also adding up. So we can say that if you are connecting 2 cells in series, the total effective uh, way of connecting a cell, another cell of equivalent EMF as well as resistance. Okay, why we are connecting this effective resistance or effective capacitance? That is, otherwise the system will be very complicated. There will be a large number of resistance, large number of EMFs and all. Okay, in order to reduce the sophistication or the complications of too many apparatus, we will be connecting a single one which is doing the work of all these components. Okay, so here we have 2 cells, okay, which are having EMF E1 and R1 and E2 and R2. Okay, what we have to connect instead of these two? If we are connecting a single EMF, what should be the value of its EMF as well as what should be the resistance, internal resistance of that cell? That is what we are finding out. So it is found to be the EMF of the cell to be E1 plus E2, as well as the internal resistance have to be R1 plus R2. Then only we will be getting this equation of the same form, that is E2 minus IR. Okay, I is there. Instead of R2 or R1, we are having R1 plus R2. That is, this is the series combination of cells. Okay, if there are n cells, okay, if there are n cells means EMF will be equal to E1 plus E2 plus E3 up to En, as well as internal resistance will be equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3, etc. up to Rn. Understood, no? Is that clear? So now we will be moving to parallel combination. Okay, parallel combination of cells. Here we will be considering 2 cells. If the positives of 2 cells are connected to a single point and negatives of a cell are connected to another point, both of them should be connected to a single point. Okay, that is the condition for parallel. Understood? That is, if you are getting a cell or resistance, a cell or resistance in this fashion, whether they are connected in series or parallel. Okay, By seeing like this, we cannot say that they are connected in parallel. Okay, that is, if it is a parallel connection, both the ends should be connected to a single point. Okay, that is, these two ends should be connected to a single point. If this is the point we are considering, these two ends are connected to a single point. Okay, but what about these two ends? No, they are not connected to a single point. Instead, they are connected to the terminals of the battery. Okay, so we cannot say that these two are parallel. This is a series connection. Okay, and this is a parallel or series connection. This is a parallel connection because these two ends are connected to a common point here, and these two ends are connected to a common point here. Okay, so both the ends of the two resistor, or how many resistance or how many EMF or how many capacitors are there, the all the ends should be connected to a single point. Then only we can say that it is a parallel connection. Okay, the respective side should be connected to a single point only. That is, if we are considering the left hand side, these two should be connected to a single point, and right hand side also should be connected to a single point. Then only we can say that they are parallel. Okay, if you check a series connection, you can see that only one side will be connected. That is, of this resistor, the right hand side, and for this resistor, the left hand side is only connected. Its left hand side and its right hand side is not connected together. It is being connected to some other portion. So we cannot say that these two are connected in parallel. Understood? These two are connected in series only. Okay, that is the way for finding out whether they are connected in series or parallel. Check whether both the ends are being touched anywhere. Okay, if they have connections anywhere like this, that is without anything in between, then we can say that they are connected in parallel. Okay, is that clear? So here, if we come into the case of a cell, okay, if the positive sides are connected to a point and negative sides are connected to another point, then we can say that they are connected in parallel. Okay, let this is having E1, R1 and E2, R2. Let this point A, C, and this is B1 and this is B2. Okay, and we know that in a parallel connection, potential will be same, but current will be different. Okay, potential will be same, current will be different. Suppose that a current is coming, that is I. By reaching at this point, what happens to the current is it will be splitted into two. That is, it will be I1 as well as it will be I2. Okay, the current will be splitted into two, I1 and I2. Okay, that is the speciality in parallel connection. In parallel connection, current won't be same, but potential will be same between these 2 points, B1 and B2. Potential will be same, but current will be different. But in the case of series connection, current will be same, but potentials will be different. Okay, current will be same, but potential will be different. If you check this image, you can see that the current which is going through this one have to pass this resistance as well as this one. Since current cannot accumulate at any point, it has to pass through all these resistors. So current will be same, but the potential, someone's audio is on, please switch it off. Mokhtar Abbas. Okay, so potential has to be dropped across each resistor. Okay, it will be dropping here. If this is having R1, R2 and R3 values, the potential will be dropped here, I into R1. That amount will be dropping here, and I into R2 will be dropping here, and I into R3 will be dropping here. Like that, potentials will be different at each and every resistor, but current will be same. Okay, so in the case of parallel combination, current will be different. Okay, so this I current which is coming to the point B2 will be splitted into two. That is I1 and I2. That current will be passing through E1 and E2, and it will be coming back here. That is I1 and I2, and it will be combining together to form I, and it will be flowing. Understood? That is clear now. So we can write I is equal to I1 plus I2. I is equal to I1 plus I2. The potential difference between B1 and B2. Okay, the potential difference between B1 and B2. Let us say that is equal to V. Okay, that will be equal to VB1 minus VB2. That will be equal to E1 minus I1 R1. Okay, E1 minus I1 R1. That is due to this cell. A current I1 is passing. So here the potential drop will be equal to I1 into R1, and the EMF produced in between these 2 points is E1. Okay, so E1 minus I1 R1 will be the potential difference between B1 B2. Similarly, for this cell also the same potential will be effective there. Okay, so that potential will be equal to same V. Since in a parallel combination potentials are equal, both will be having the same potential. So V will be same. So V is equal to VB1 minus VB2, that is equal to E2 minus I2R2. E2 minus I2R2. Okay, so what happens if you are finding out what is the total current I will be equal to I1 plus I2. From this you will be getting the equation of I1 and I2. I1 will be equal to E1 minus V by R1. Right now, this is a negative sign. So if you are bringing this I1 R1 to the other side, this V will be coming here. So E1 minus V, and this R1 will be coming to the denominator. Okay, so I1 is equal to E1 minus V by R1. Similarly, I2 will be equal to, this implies I2 will be equal to E2 minus V by R2. Okay, in order to find out what is the total current, I1 plus I2, that is equal to E1 minus V by R1 plus E2 minus V by R2. Okay, so from here we will be getting equal to E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 minus we are taking common outside 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Okay, E1 by, from this equation we are splitting these two terms, that is E1 by R1 minus V by R1. Here E2 by R2 minus V by R2. Okay, so on splitting those terms we will be getting E1 minus R1 and E2 by R2 minus V into, taking V common from both terms, V into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Okay, this is equal to I. So from this term you can find out what is V, no? Okay, from that term you can find out what is V. V will be equal to E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 minus, what was there? If you find out this term, you will be getting this V into 1 by R1 by 1 by R2 will be getting V into R2 plus R1 by R2, R1. Okay, that term will be going to the other side. Okay, that term will be going to the other side. So we will be getting I into R1, R2 by R1 plus R2, which is equal to E1 R2 E2 R1 by R1 plus R2, and this term will be multiplied with here again. Okay, R1 R2 will be multiplied with R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 minus I into R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. This will get cancelled. So V will be equal to E1 R2 plus E2 R1 by R1 plus R2 minus I into R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. Okay, this will be the equation of potential difference between the 2 points, that is B1 and B2, due to two cells of having EMF E1 and E2 and internal resistance R1 and R2. Okay, so here also we can see that the potential is coming to be, this will be the EMF term, that is EMF into resistance divided by resistance term. So if we are seeing dimensionally also, we will be getting the term like this will be the EMF term. Okay, because here it is a resistance term and the denominator is resistance plus resistance. That is again a resistance term. So these two resistance term will be cancelled. So it is again a EMF term will be coming. Okay, so here it is an EMF term and I into this is a resistance part. Okay, R1 into R2, so resistance square divided by R1 plus R2, that is a resistance term. So again, it will be coming to be a resistance. That is the effective resistance of the internal resistance, which are connected in parallel. Okay, so that will be coming to I into R term. Okay, so we can say that the equivalent EMF will be equal to E1 R2 plus E2 R1 by R1 plus R2, and equivalent internal resistance. Equivalent internal resistance will be equal to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. Understood? That is clear now? That will be the equivalent resistance. So if you are finding out for an n number of cells, okay, n number of cells which are connected in this one parallel. Okay, so the equation of internal resistance will be equal to as same as R equivalent 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 etc. up to 1 by Rn, and similarly here we are not having equivalent EMF. Okay, we are not having the term equivalent EMF, we will be having the term E equivalent by R equivalent. Okay, a term like this only we are getting, because here all the denominators are being added. Okay, so E1 by R1 plus E2 by R2 plus etc. En by Rn. Okay, a term called E equivalent by R equivalent, that is a I corresponding term is coming. Okay, current corresponding term is coming, that is EMF by resistance. Okay, so a current corresponding term is coming because in a parallel combination V will be same, but current is what is changing. Okay, so those currents will be equal to their corresponding ratios of EMF as well as resistance. Understood? This is the series and parallel combination of cells. Okay, Now, if we are analyzing these electrical circuits and all, we know that simply with this Ohm's law, that is the basic is Ohm's law, but using Ohm's law only, it will be very hectic. Okay, to solve the electrical circuit problems and all. For solving that one scientist called Kirchhoff, he has forwarded two important laws. Okay, that is Kirchhoff rules we say, or Kirchhoff laws we say. First one is called the junction rule or the current rule, and the second one is called the loop rule or mesh rule or voltage rule. Okay, first one is called the junction rule. Junction rule. Okay, junction rule is nothing but these rules are very easy and it will be very helpful in solving electrical circuit problems also. Okay, if there are a large number of currents meeting at a point, this is our point P. Okay, I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, I6 and I7. Okay, that is a large number of currents are meeting at a point P. We know that this I1, I2 and I3 are coming to this point and it is being splitted as I4, I5, I6 and I7. Okay, by the first rule, it is said that the algebraic sum of current meeting at a point is equal to 0. Okay, that is algebraic sum of the current meeting at a point is equal to 0. Okay, that means that there is no current is being accumulated at any point at any junction. Okay, that is the current entering the junction will be is equal to current leaving the junction. Okay, that is in an equation you can write I1 plus I2 plus I3. These are the current which are entering the junction. Okay, so we'll start. So the first rule is called Kirchhoff's first rule is called junction rule. Okay, junction rule means the algebraic sum of currents meeting at a junction is equal to 0. That means if there are a large number of currents are meeting at a point, okay, say I1, I2 and I3 are meeting at here, and I4, I5, I6 and I7 are leaving from this junction. Okay, so the current meeting at a junction, the total current meeting at a junction will be is equal to the current leaving a junction. That is I4 plus I5 plus I6 plus I7. Okay, the current meeting at a junction will be is equal to current leaving a junction. Okay, that we also know, that is current won't be accumulating at any point, it will be flowing always. Okay, so if a certain amount of current is coming, that is I1 plus I2 plus I3 currents are coming, this I3 won't be staying here, it will be going as I4, I5, I6 or I7. Okay, it will be splitted or it will be cumulative and it will be going only, it won't be staying at any point in the circuit. Okay, so the current meeting at that junction is equal to the current leaving that junction. So if you add all these currents, okay, if you add all these currents, it will be equal to 0, because these currents coming to this junction will be taken as positive and the currents just leaving the junction will be taken as negative. Okay, so total current will be equal to 0, or the current leaving the junction is equal to positive means current coming to the junction will be equal to negative. So again it will be equal to 0. So the first rule states that the algebraic sum of current meeting at a point will be equal to 0. Okay, or the total current coming to a junction, that is entering to a junction, will be equal to the total current leaving a junction. Then the next rule, this is the first rule. Okay, and the second rule is called Kirchhoff's loop rule or mesh rule or voltage rule. Okay, loop rule or mesh rule or voltage rule. Okay, first one is called junction rule or current rule. Okay, the second rule is called a loop or mesh rule or voltage rule. In this law, he states that the sum of algebraic sum of changes in potential around any closed loop involving a resistor is equal to 0. Did you understand anything? Okay, the algebraic sum of changes in potential. Suppose that if there is a closed circuit carrying an EMF and two resistors. Okay, this will be having an EMF E, and from here a current will be flowing in this direction, that is I, and resistance R1 and resistance R2. Okay, that is the total potential in this closed loop will be equal to 0, or we can say that I into R1 plus I into R2 will be equal to E. Right now, this EMF will be equal to the potential drop at R1 and plus the potential drop at R2. So if you add all these, E1 plus E plus I into R1 plus I into R2 will be equal to 0. Okay, so we can say that the rule states that in any closed path, okay, in any closed path, the algebraic sum of product of resistance and respective current. Okay, the product of resistance and the respective current. Okay, the sum of product of total sum of product of resistance and respective current will be equal to the EMF in the closed path. Okay, what is the EMF in this closed path? That is this E. Okay, it will be equal to the sum of product of current and resistance will be equal to the EMF in the closed path. Okay, the only thing is that it should be a closed loop. That is the only necessary condition for this one. Okay, if it is a closed loop means the sum of current and resistance, product of current and resistance will be equal to sum of product of current and resistance will be equal to EMF. Okay, suppose that if there is no EMF is there. Okay, if you are considering this loop means then I into R1 plus I into R2 will be equal to 0. Okay, I into R1 plus I into R2 is equal to 0. Now you will be wondering that how, if there is no EMF means how current will be installed, how there will be a current I will be installed in this one. Okay, suppose that you are considering a parallel connection. Okay, if you are considering a parallel connection, if it is having an EMF E, okay, now you are looking at this loop only. You are not at all considering this EMF part, you are looking just this loop only. Then what happens if a current I is coming? Okay, if a current I is coming, at this point it will be splitted into I1, this will be R1, and here I2 and R2. So if you are considering this point to be A and this point is B, in the loop A, R1, B, R2A, that is A, R1, B, R2 and A. Okay, in this loop, okay, what is the algebraic sum of this current and resistance, product of current and resistance? That will be equal to I1. We are starting from A. Okay, if the direction of loop we are taking is in the direction of current, then it is positive. If the current is flowing in the opposite direction of our loop, that is we are taking the loop in this direction, so I1 is positive because it is coming along with the loop. But if you go to this branch, then our loop is going from right to left, but the current I2 is going from left to right. We are going from right to left, but the current is going from left to right. So we will take I2 as negative. Okay, that is the only thing you have to keep in mind. So I1 R1 minus I2 R2 will be equal to, is there any EMF in this loop? Nothing. So it will be equal to 0. Understood? That is how you evaluate the loops in a electrical circuit using a Kirchhoff's law. Okay, Kirchhoff's loop rule or mesh rule. Okay, suppose that we are having a circuit like this. A resistance is here and let a resistance be here. Okay, like this. Suppose there is a circuit like this. It is an EMF E. Let it be R1, R2, R3, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, and like from this EMF, a current I is passing, and that I will be splitted into, let this be I, and here it will be I1, it will be I2, and this I1 and I2. Our first rule, that is the current I which is coming to this point will be splitted into I1 and I2. So I will be equal to I1 plus I2, or I plus I1 plus I2 will be equal to 0. Okay, so this will be, I will be splitted into I1 plus I2. So I will be equal to I1 plus I2, and this I1 and I2 will be going here, and it will be meeting the point at E. And at that point E, this I1 and I2 will be combining together and go as I. So I1 plus I2 should be equal to I. So that I will be coming back to this EMF also. Okay, so if you are considering this loop, that is A, B, C, no, A, B, E, F, A. In the loop A, B, E, F, A. Okay, I think it is visible. In the loop A, B, E, F, A. Okay, this loop, first loop. Okay, by in that loop, what will be the equation? If we are applying loop rule, it will be equal to E. EMF E will be equal to, our current is flowing in this direction, and this is our I1, which is in the direction of loop also. So I1 into R2, and after reaching at this point, this I3 also, I2 also will be joining with I1 and forming I. So this I current will be coming in this direction. So plus I into R1. Okay, this will be the equation of our first loop. That is E is equal to I1 into R2. That is I1 current which is coming into R2 plus I into R1. Okay, if you are considering this loop, that is B, C, D, E, B, B, C, D, E, B, coming back to B. Okay, this loop, what will be the equation? What is the EMF, total EMF present in this loop? Nothing. Nothing means 0. 0 will be equal to, we are going from B to C and from C to D. So there is a resistance. So I2 into R3 plus or minus. If it is coming back here, I1 is going in this direction. That is opposite to our loop. Our loop is coming like in the anti-clockwise direction, but I is flowing in the clockwise direction. So we will be taking minus of I1 R2. This is the equation of this loop. Okay, B, C, D, E, B. Okay, what will be the equation of A, C, D, F, A? That is this large loop. That will be equal to, if you are considering A, B, C, D, E, F, A. A, B, C, D, E, F, A. That is the large one. Then it will be equal to, what is the total EMF present in that loop? It is E. E will be equal to, there is no need of considering this I current, because there is no I1 current, because it is not in our loop. Our loop is this one, this larger one. This is not included. This branch is not included. So I2 current is coming and it is going here. So I2 into R3. It is along with our direction only, in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay. If you are taking in this direction, and comes R1. So my plus I into R1. Here it is not I2. I2 will be combining with this I. So I will be flowing here. So I into R1. I into R1. This will be the equation of this third loop. Okay. Like this, whatever be the complicated circuit you are given, you can simplify the circuits into small meshes, and you can calculate what is the value of potential drop, or value of EMF in that loop, or what is the value of current in that loop, or what is the value of given resistance. Okay, using this Kirchhoff's law. Okay, by using this Kirchhoff law, now we will be having our three applications. Okay, after explaining about the three applications, this chapter is completed. But that three application is very important. That is, first one is Wheaton's bridge. That is the actual application of this Kirchhoff law. Okay, we will Wheatstone's bridge. Okay, that means four resistors will be connected in the shape of a bridge. Bridge means like in a diamond shape. Okay, in a kite shape or in a diamond shape, we will be placing four resistors, and across the opposite side, opposite diagonals of this diamond shape, we will be connecting one EMF, as well as for the other diagonal, we will be connecting galvanometer also. Okay, and we will be studying about what are the specialties and peculiarities of that Wheatstone's bridge and its application. Okay, that Wheatstone's bridge is applied in practical form as a meter bridge. That is the second experiment you have to do in practical, and the third one is potentiometer. Okay, while discussing about internal resistance, I have told you you have potentiometer experiment, as well as this one meter bridge experiment. This meter bridge and potentiometer are the application of this Wheatstone's bridge. Okay, so we will be applying our Kirchhoff law in these in the Wheatstone's bridge, and we will be find out what is the relation between the resistance which are connected in the Wheatstone's bridge, and we'll apply that in this meter bridge as well as in potentiometer. Okay, is that all for today? And we will see tomorrow. Okay, and complete your copies. And nobody has sent me the photos of their completed copies. Okay, so send the photos of your copies. Okay, then bye, see you tomorrow.